And, I just cannot help but feel that we are missing something. You all heard the story about one of our municipalities turning down a very fabulous development because they didn't want those people in their community. Well, I mean, do we have a problem with those people and what that truly means? Because when you start talking about trying to categorize or have data points about what a person's employment is, what about the young people coming out of school who are trying to find affordable housing, who may not have parents that they can move in or continue to stay with? And what about the elderly? There was a huge article just a couple Sundays ago about the problems that the elderly were having with increases in their rent. And do we have a stigma here about how affordable it really is to live here? I mean, those are all issues that we kind of dance all around, but we spend an awful lot of time and an awful lot of money collecting data. That's not the issue here. The issue is availability of being able to either redevelop or have land to develop on or. So it's just really very frustrating. And Commissioner Flowers did a summit on affordable housing just a couple months ago. The Regional Planning Council is doing a summit on affordable housing. Almost every municipality is doing one. At what point do we collect all of that and say, okay, we have a plan to move forward? And no matter what we do, we can't do it fast enough to solve the issue.
Well, the issue of affordability and building the units is a significant issue.
It's huge.
One of the issues you talked about is exactly what the compact should be working on, which is the anti-stigma campaign. I've raised this with city managers as a group, and I've said that, we're going to have a development before this commission sometime, and you're going to have neighbors that are going to be in here telling you it's traffic, that it's this, that it's that. And, and that's where the rubber's going to meet the road, and whether we can stand and approve, those types of developments. The issue about the accessory structures and things like that. Those are some significant issues. I believe the housing compact can really come up, and I challenged a group. There was a group that just approached me, and they were talking about how they can help. And I said, there you go. Talk about an anti-stigma campaign. Talk about that, because you don't have money doesn't make you a criminal. Okay, and and it's not going to devalue your house. That these are all kinds of folks, depending upon the issue, and that it's a good thing. But we don't have an organized effort like that, and so we only hear the loud few, and so that's something that I think could be a very successful initiative that could be started through the housing compact.
And it's certainly something that we're talking about as far as how do we, particularly between Forward Pinellas and the county, since we're kind of the owner of the website and that infrastructure, how do we kind of begin to build that messaging countywide? And of course, how do our partners also make sure that they're talking about it as well in everything that they do? I think it's really, really important. I think, it needs to be the constituents, the community, the electeds. There's education that needs to happen. We need to do whatever we can as part of this to kind of to spread that word and to educate to the things that Barry was just speaking to. And I think we're certainly committed to that.
Commissioner Flowers.
Thank you. Barry, there is a group, it's called YIMBYism, Yes in My Backyard. And it's a anti the not in my backyard. And they have this young lady's been able to coalesce a really good group of people, and all doing it from a factual standpoint, not a emotional, just all from a factual standpoint. So I can introduce you to her if you'd like. A very nice young lady, and very good group of people, hardworking people. because at any point in time, if any one of us had a major health crisis or something, we could find ourselves, in a bit of a pickle. So I was really glad to hear that she took that challenge on. She's a young person too. For the listing of affordable housing stock, whether it's rental or purchase, I support that wholeheartedly. What I'm finding is the minute that a project is almost complete and that entity advertises that they're now taking applications like Skyway Loft, the units, for those people who are in position, the units are gone and they had a waiting list of 1,500 people. So, and that's just one entity. So, even if we compile this list, which I think is a fabulous idea, it depends on the modality of a person. If you have mobile transportation, maybe you can get to where you need to quickly. If you don't have mobile transportation, somebody's gonna get there before you, the unit's gone. I was speaking with Barry. I'm very appreciative of Mr. Lundy with the St. Petersburg Housing Authority and some other local housing groups. We're putting together an event where it will be persons from various aspects of the community. So if you're coming in because you already have your HUD Section 8 voucher, you have everything ready to go, you're just having difficulty getting online because everywhere that you look, either they're not taking vouchers anymore or your voucher doesn't fit because it's 2-3 bedroom, you only need a one or whatever. That person will be able to go to that specific entity and get what they need right then and there and not have to go to 1,500 different places. So maybe that'll help cut down on A, the frustration, and B, some of the calls, because people are just calling anybody they could think of
Right.
to try to get some help.
Absolutely.
They don't, and they're frustrated, so that's why they yell at us. It's not personal. They're just frustrated. Keeping a list, I think, would be good, but I could see that thing changing like minute by minute, second by second. So that's gonna be difficult, but I think it is good to do that. I think the other problem that we're having that I had not thought about until last week, yes, we pushed for an increase in hourly salaries, hourly wages, $15 or greater. 24.67 average means is what you would need to earn an hour for just a one-bedroom apartment. In increasing that hourly wage, even if you work at McDonald's or Burger King, for some people, that now takes them out of the eligibility for their voucher. So now they no longer qualify for the voucher. So now they're at market rate, but they don't make enough to pay for market rate. So it's just so many things that people have to deal with to try to maneuver this system. But all of the ideas, all of the conversations I heard today are all worth investigating and putting in. Lastly, even when Rick Baker was mayor with the city of St. Petersburg, he put forth that effort through the WIN program and the SHIP program to provide additional down payment and closing cost assistance to teachers, first responders, and whatnot. And they got a little bit more if they actually moved into a more challenging community, or if a teacher got a house in South St. Pete, but she also worked at one of the schools that were challenging, John Hopkins, Melrose, et cetera, then they got an additional $5,000. Mayor Welch has put something similar in place, which I think is really, really good. And then I saw this morning where either Polk or Pasco County now has put $890,000 towards mortgage assistance for people who faced losing their home or got behind in their mortgage because of COVID. It has to be COVID related. They have to be at 80% AMI, means they have to reside in that county with the exception of Lakeland. So it's, criteria. But I think all of those things where a person could get all of that information and they know I don't qualify for this, but I qualify for that. So that they're not wasting their time filling out an application that they don't even qualify for when they could be over here and maybe would have gotten something. I'm not saying we're necessarily the people to do it, because I understand what Barry's saying, that's manpower and whatnot. But finding an organization that would be in position to do that, I think it would be really, really, really good. Some organization like the Urban League or I hate to say 211, but just throwing some names out. I'm not talking bad about 211, but yeah, I that's why I said not. Yeah, I caught myself. Commissioner Seal, I caught myself. But to find an organization like that that is kind of embedded in the community that may have that staff person. And speaking seriously about the Urban League, they've now gotten into affordable housing. They just completed their first house. They have 3 more that are coming online, but they're doing houses. Maybe they'll look at townhomes or something, that gives some additional density at some point. But maybe an organization like that who's accustomed to taking those calls or having that kind of traffic and then having those additional services there where they could assist them in other areas might be a forethought.